Hey everyone, Beardo speaking, and you are watching Minutia Minute. This is going to be a quick video response to agent42q, who recently posted a video about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was a fantastic video, and I wanted to kind of give a shout out to him. First of all, he talks a lot about turtle history, which was really interesting, and I'll get into that a little bit more. He gave some really great advice for shopping for comics online. And that was incredibly helpful actually already, although not helpful for my wallet. I'm sure when I get paid I am gonna have to be very careful. Finally, I mean, it was just generally a really smart, really well thought out review, and so I kind of wanted to throw in my 2 cents a little bit. So first of all, he was, as I said, talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he is definitely, out of the people that I watch online, definitely talks about Turtles the most, and I've always been a huge Turtles fan. One of the things I really love about the Turtles is that when you're a kid, you know, you have the cartoon, you have the toys, you have, you know, all sort of the kidsy kind of stuff that, you know, it's just great when you're, you know, 5 or whatever. And not to say that it doesn't have, it isn't fun now as an adult, but, you know, it's mostly, in my opinion, probably more fun for nostalgia value. However, the thing that's great is, you know, Turtles started as sort of this dark, edgy, you know, just really off-the-wall, crazy indie comic. And so when you grow up, you have this whole other world of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that you have to discover, and you sort of can reappreciate the characters in a completely new light. And I think it's part of what adds to the longevity. I mean, you know, in the 1980s when the Turtles boom happened, you know, outsiders, you know, it's like they saw it as a flash in the pan and it went away, and yet, you know, those of us who are really hardcore Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fans, you know, are still rocking it, you know, are still plugging it. They're still making these books, and we've kept it alive for this long. Usually when something, you know, burns that hard, you know, burns out really quickly, and it did burn out quickly, but because of the quality of some of the early Turtle stuff, I think that, I mean, it's really kept, you know, there's really a core idea there that really is high quality, and for the people who haven't sort of gone out and found some of those early books, you know, they don't know what they're missing out on, I guess, really. And so, anyway, I just wanted to share my love for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, first of all, and that's kind of why I love them, because there really is something there for all ages, and it's really a great series that you can appreciate in one way when you're a kid, and then completely, you know, appreciate it in a completely different way as you get older. So really, really great series. Now, he said that he was going to be possibly doing some, I don't know if they'd be unboxing videos necessarily, but kind of reviewing a whole bunch of Turtles books he's been getting online, and I wanted to give my thumbs up for that as well. I think that that would absolutely be fantastic. So agent42q, definitely do that. I would really love to see it. And then a couple other things I wanted to talk about really quick is he did talk about this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Color Classics, which came out yesterday. I did do a brief review of this video when I just did my Wednesday comic book reviews, and he had a very interesting point, which is that this has been colored before, and I said in my video that I enjoyed the colors. I've been leery of them because it was originally black and white, and I like the grittiness of the black and white. And he kind of talked about some of the other colored versions, or the one other colored version, at least, and sort of talked about how he liked that better. And I was completely unfamiliar with the other coloring, and so I thought that was a real eye-opener, and I'm really interested in picking up those other comics. And I think this is going to be the English major of me coming out here, but I think coloring in comics is incredibly important. And if you look at someone like William Blake, who is someone who, I mean, he invented illuminated printing, and he had all kinds of, you know, poems and so on and so forth that was illuminated with just beautiful artwork, and they were all original pieces, and he'd color all of them differently, and depending on the way he'd color something, it could completely change the meaning of the poem he was talking about. So, for example, there's a poem about a little black boy that wants God to sort of see him the way he is because he's more or less would be a slave. And in one version of this poem, there's a picture of the kid. I don't have it to show you, I'm sorry, but there's a picture of this kid sort of before God, and God's sort of patting him on the head or whatever. And in one picture, this little black boy, his soul is white, and in another one, his soul is black. And so, it's like, it comes down to, like, is William Blake one of the most racist people on earth? Or is he trying to talk about racism? And it all comes down to just a measly little tweaking in the coloring of an illuminated print that he did, and the fact that it goes both ways is incredibly fascinating. So, now nothing that heavy in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles coloring. However, it is really important, and agent42q talked about sort of the darker coloring of the early book. This one does, as he said, have a very digital coloring, and I kind of like that. I liked kind of the technicoloriness of it. I thought it was kind of interesting and was an unusual choice for the book, but I actually did like it. However, that other coloring definitely, as he said, it probably does fit the book more. So, really interesting stuff. I think that this kind of interpreting stuff and just the little things that make such a huge difference in the final product can be a really fascinating subject overall. And in another video response I did very recently, I feel like I've done a bajillion videos lately. In response to Sleepy Reader 666, he was asking about who's more important, the artist or the writer, and I went with the writer. And before you boo me, check out the video so you know kind of where I'm coming from. But one thing that's important to mention about that too is, I give it to the writer because it really starts with the writer, and he really relies on the artist to get that vision told. So, the artist is incredibly important, but it's really up to the writer to either adapt to the artist's style or make sure that he gets an artist that's going to fit the work that he's doing. But that said, once the artist gets a hold of it, there is so much that the artist brings to it, and determining how he chooses to, build the layouts in the book, or, if he creates any extra sort of visual beats that weren't in the original script, can completely make or break a script. It can make it, the easiest thing to read and the most enjoyable read, or can make it so convoluted that you just don't know, you just don't know what's going on, and you don't care, and you just put it down and throw it away. Not to mention, of course, the fact that, the artist is what really sells the book, because that's what you see when you're, leafing through it in the comic book shop. But anyway, the whole marriage of, visual ideas and written ideas is one of the things that I love most about comics, just thinking about that kind of stuff. And it goes all the way back to, the Egyptians, or in, my particular case here, William Blake. So, really interesting stuff, and I thought that agent42q did a really great job of nailing that kind of stuff on the head with his Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles video. So, yet another thumb up for that. And then finally, I just wanted to show off something kind of fun. This is not a book that I own. This is something that my buddy Turk, so shout out to Turk if you're watching. This is his book. It's something he borrowed to me because he knows I'm a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan. And agent42q touched on this when he was talking about one of the things that sort of got Eastman and Laird going on the Turtles early on was there was a potential for a role-playing game, and then eventually it turned into a sort of a toy deal, and then out of that came the cartoon, and that's when the Turtles really exploded. However, I'm not sure how familiar agent42q is with the role-playing game, but that was actually put out, and this is it right here. And this is actually kind of fun. I'm not really a role player, but I was leafing through this. It's pretty entertaining. You can see this copy is really beat up. It's a revised edition of the 6th printing of it, so this would have come out after the this particular copy of this would have come out after the cartoon had hit. However, the role-playing game itself, I believe, was substantially before the actual cartoon and the Turtles explosion, and which is why, you really, inside this book, you get a lot of Eastman and Laird art, which is really cool, because it's, you know, really going out of the comic book. I'll see, here's kind of a really cool, and this kind of comes back to like the black and white turtle stuff that I really like, that it's not colored, because you get stuff like this that's just beautiful. Anyway, and there's another shot for you. I don't know if I'm going to leaf through this whole thing, but I'll see if I can find some stuff. It's a lot of, I'm guessing a lot of this stuff is actually from the comic books, but there is a lot of original art as well. One thing, as I was leafing through this, it's kind of cool that when you're building, for those of you guys who do play RPGs, you might kind of find this interesting, but when you're building your character, you actually get to pick, and this is actually what we're looking at right here, all these random numbers and crap. Confusing is all I'm going to say. But you actually get to pick what kind of animal you're going to mutate from. So you aren't necessarily going to build a turtle character. You can build an armadillo. You can build a wild fowl version of a mutated creature, or a wild boar. All kinds of just pigeons. You know, just like bizarre stuff. Here's some more kind of fun artwork. So, oh, you can't quite see that. Let me adjust this up. This is sort of a Eastman and Laird interpretation of some of the characters you would create. So this is the mutated bulldog that you would play as, or this is the English sheepdog mutant that you could play as. So kind of just bizarre, but fun, you know, kind of cool. So any Turtles fan actually might get a kick out of just kind of leafing through this book. Here's their version of a possum. I've got to turn that sideways. Possum creature. There's a porcupine creature, looks like there. And then, of course, good old Splinter. Anyway, and then it also does have a short comic book in here, and I don't know if this is reprinted from something in the comics. I think that it's actually, it's supposed to be something that kicks off the role-playing game that you're going to be playing, so I think it is actually unique, but I don't actually know for sure. But there's that, and anyway, there's more here. Lots of cool artwork in it. So anyway, agent42q, if you don't have this already, you might want to pick it up, because it is pretty cool. So anyway, this is the role-playing game that he was talking about, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness by Eric Wojcicki. Sorry. Anyway, that's my video response. Agent42q, please make videos about the Turtles, more of them. I love the Turtles, and I love when you talk about them, because you really do know a lot about it, and it's fantastic to see. Those of you who haven't watched his video on the Turtles, go check it out. Even if you're not a huge Turtles fan, he makes some really good points and tells some really interesting stories. So anyway, I will talk to you all very soon, and I probably won't have a video up for a little bit because I've done like 1,000 videos this week. So, see you later.